Good day, level casters. Today, we embark on a journey back to a pivotal moment in human history, a fortnight that brought the world to the precipice of nuclear annihilation, the Cuban Missile Crisis. This dramatic confrontation in October 1962 between the United States and the Soviet Union, with Cuba as its unwilling stage, remains a chilling testament to the fragility of peace and the profound consequences of geopolitical maneuvering. Understanding this event is not merely an exercise in historical recall. It offers invaluable insights into international relations, the psychology of leadership under extreme duress, and the delicate balance of power that continues to shape our global landscape. We will delve into the intricate web of decisions, miscalculations, and ultimately, the desperate negotiations that averted what many believed to be an inevitable Third World War. As we explore the buildup, the intense standoff, and the eventual de-escalation, pay close attention to the nuanced language used to describe political tensions, diplomatic strategies, and the existential threat that loomed large. This narrative will equip you with not only a deeper comprehension of a critical historical juncture but also an enriched vocabulary to articulate complex international affairs with precision and confidence. Prepare yourselves for a compelling and sobering account of how the world stared down the barrel of a nuclear gun and, by some miracle, stepped back. The lessons learned from this crisis resonate even today, reminding us of the urgent necessity for clear communication, strategic empathy, and the unwavering pursuit of peaceful resolutions in the face of escalating conflict. The seeds of the Cuban Missile Crisis were sown in a complex geopolitical environment marked by the Cold War's ideological struggle and an escalating arms race. Following the failed Bay of Pigs invasion in April 1961, a clandestine U.S.-backed attempt to overthrow Fidel Castro's communist regime in Cuba, the Soviet Union perceived an opportunity to bolster its strategic position and demonstrate its commitment to its allies. Premier Nikita Khrushchev, sensing an imbalance in the nuclear arsenal, particularly America's deployment of Jupiter missiles in Turkey, which directly threatened Soviet territory, decided to secretly install intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Cuba. This audacious move, just 90 miles off the coast of Florida, was intended to deter any future U.S. aggression against Cuba and to level the nuclear playing field. The operation, codenamed Anadir, involved a massive logistical effort, transporting missiles, nuclear warheads, and Soviet troops under the cloak of secrecy across the Atlantic. For months, U.S. intelligence had been monitoring suspicious activity in Cuba, but it wasn't until October 14, 1962, that a U-2 spy plane captured irrefutable photographic evidence of missile launch sites under construction. This discovery ignited a firestorm within the White House, plunging President John F. Kennedy and his advisors into an intense period of deliberation. The Executive Committee of the National Security Council, or EXCOM, was formed, comprising top military and civilian officials, tasked with formulating a response. Initial reactions ranged from immediate airstrikes to a full-scale invasion of Cuba, both options carrying the terrifying risk of triggering a full-blown nuclear war. The stakes could not have been higher. The fate of humanity hung precariously in the balance as the world unknowingly teetered on the brink of catastrophe. The revelation of the Soviet missiles in Cuba triggered an unprecedented level of tension. President Kennedy, acutely aware of the potentially catastrophic consequences of a direct military confrontation, opted for a more measured, yet firm, response: a naval quarantine of Cuba. Announced to the world on October 22, this quarantine, strategically termed to avoid the legal implications of a blockade, which would be an act of war aimed to prevent further offensive weapons from reaching the island. American naval vessels formed a cordon around Cuba, prepared to intercept and inspect any ships attempting to breach the line. The world held its breath as Soviet ships, some believed to be carrying more missile components, approached the quarantine zone. The possibility of an armed clash at sea, which could easily spiral into a nuclear exchange, was terrifyingly real. Simultaneously, intense diplomatic back channels were activated. Robert Kennedy, the president's brother and attorney general, engaged in secret communications with Soviet Ambassador Anatoly Dobrynin, while UN Secretary-General U Thant attempted to mediate. The United Nations Security Council became a forum for heated exchanges, with U.S. Ambassador Adlai Stevenson famously confronting his Soviet counterpart with photographic evidence of the missile sites. Days turned into an agonizing week, with multiple close calls. A U.S. U-2 spy plane was shot down over Cuba, and a Soviet submarine, B-59, nearly launched a nuclear torpedo after losing contact with Moscow and believing it was under attack. The world was gripped by fear, with many preparing for the worst-case scenario. The pressure on both leaders, Kennedy and Khrushchev, was immense, each grappling with the immense responsibility of preventing global catastrophe while maintaining national honor and strategic advantage. After 13 agonizing days, a glimmer of hope emerged from the tense standoff. On October 26, Khrushchev sent a long, emotional letter to Kennedy, offering to remove the missiles if the U.S. pledged not to invade Cuba. The following day, a second, harder-line letter arrived, adding a demand for the removal of U.S. Jupiter missiles from Turkey. The ex-com was divided on how to respond to these seemingly contradictory messages. Ultimately, Kennedy decided to publicly accept the terms of the first letter, agreeing not to invade Cuba, while privately communicating his willingness to remove the Jupiter missiles from Turkey at a later date, a concession that was kept secret for decades to avoid political fallout. This shrewd diplomatic maneuver, often referred to as the Turkey for Cuba deal, provided Khrushchev with a face-saving exit while de-escalating the immediate crisis. On October 28, Khrushchev publicly announced that the Soviet Union would dismantle its missile sites in Cuba and return the weapons to the USSR, effectively ending the crisis. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief. The Cuban Missile Crisis served as a stark, unforgettable lesson in the perils of nuclear brinkmanship and the critical importance of effective communication and diplomacy even amidst the gravest threats. It led to the establishment of the Moscow-Washington Hotline, a direct communication link designed to prevent future misunderstandings, and contributed to the partial nuclear test ban treaty in 1963. While the immediate threat receded, the crisis left an indelible mark on international relations, shaping Cold War policies and fostering a more cautious approach to superpower confrontation. It underscored the profound responsibility leaders bear in times of global peril and the enduring human capacity to pull back from the abyss when faced with ultimate destruction.
That was an incredibly detailed account of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yes, it really brings home the tension of that time.
I can't imagine living through those 13 days.
The threat of nuclear war felt very real.
Kennedy's decision to quarantine was a bold move.
It certainly avoided a direct military strike.
And Khrushchev's secret missile deployment was audacious.
He definitely aimed to balance the strategic power.
The U-2 spy plane photos were crucial.
They provided irrefutable evidence of the threat.
The secret negotiations were key to the resolution.
Robert Kennedy played a vital role there.
The Jupiter missiles in Turkey were a big concession.
Yes, but it helped both sides save face.
The Moscow-Washington hotline was a positive outcome.
It was a direct lesson learned from the crisis.
The world truly stepped back from the brink.
It was a testament to diplomacy under pressure.
I'm glad they found a peaceful resolution.
Me too. It was a terrifying period.
This really highlights the importance of communication.
Absolutely, especially in international relations.
That was a great lesson.
I agree. Keep learning, Levelcasters.
Until next time, Levelcasters, keep exploring, keep learning.